It's not going to stay like that.
No.
Hey, everybody.
Are we here?
Are we here?
Are we here, people?
Wait, and how we would see the comments
I'm asking.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Check, check, check.
Oh, and we can highlight comments again.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about doing it live. F it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Okay, I think we're...
Why would I say F it?
You're a good boy.
I'm such a good boy.
Oh, yeah, we're here. Okay, cool.
That's why we're talking Halloween. Hey, everybody. There's nobody here, but that's okay. Sam and I are here.
Anita's in typical Anita fashion, can't find the link, even though it's right there. I can see it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty...
Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, Loot the Booty's here. See, he found it.
Hey,
They
Loot.
found it. I don't know who Loot is. What am I talking about?
Loot rules.
Okay, well, I'm going to close this because I don't need this anymore. It's good to be back.
So good. So good. What's up, gents? Loot. Hey, Anita. Uh-oh, what song's about to start
She's
playing?
here.
My name is Just.
Uh-oh, something just started?
We caught it just in time.
All right, good. Thank God. You know, we're talking spooky season here, right?
That's right.
I think maybe I screwed up because on the Instagram post it said we're talking Halloween music. I'm not talking Halloween music.
No,
I'm just talking general spookiness.
Yeah, I'm not really talking Halloween music either.
Okay.
Kind of. I mean, I sort of used it as a start, but curious about where does Halloween rank for you in terms of holidays?
Well, can I just start off by saying I'm feeling a little bit like Marty McFly right now?
Because you're disappearing.
Because I'm disappearing right before our eyes.
What's going on with your shirt,
This
Sam?
photograph is starting to disappear.
Well, we wanted to get into some spooky territory, and so Sam is very ghostly.
I decided to wear a yellow shirt. Jason wears a green shirt every day. He's never invisible.
Somehow, this is
It's pretty dark.
I'm going to be honest, this is much too thick of a shirt for a day where it's like 100 plus.
Yeah. I was in New York, and I don't know why I always expect it to be cooler than it is in October. But then I remember, oh yeah, it doesn't get cool until after Halloween. So anyway, back to Halloween.
I need to set in why are there two Jasons on the screen? I don't.
What
is that? Is that happening?
I don't know.
I don't see two of me.
I don't see two
but
Jasons. That would be cool if there was. That'd be really cool.
maybe one of them has his shit
Oh, because
together.
it's your shadow. That's what she's
Oh.
referring to. You and your shadow here.
Me and my shadow.
And my shadow.
Oh yeah, I started doing Me and My Arrow. It's close.
Similar lyrics.
Jason Shadow. That's the name of my new band.
And Jason's also a very famous Halloween character by a movie of the same name, I believe.
No.
Oh no, it's not.
It's called
That's a
Friday
different
the
movie.
13th.
That's right. No, is it?
But there.
Wait, Friday the 13th. Isn't that Freddy the Krueger? Freddy the.
Freddy the Krueger.
So to answer your question, where do I stand on Halloween? I don't know anything about it.
You love it, Freddy the Krueger. Okay. Friday the 13th is the name of that.
Right.
Hey, we got Tommy Casper.
TK.
Friday the 13th is the name of that film, and
With
Jason is the hockey mask wearing psychopath.
Freddy the Krueger is from Nightmare on the Elm Street.
Nightmare on the Elm Street.
Right.
Yep.
And Jason is from
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he is the
Oh,
guy.
Michael Myers.
Michael
I was
Myers
thinking
is
of
Halloween.
I was thinking Michael Myers. That's right.
Unless you're watching, hey, there's Decoy. Here's Decoy. That's funny, Decoy. Because that's actually kind of ties into my shit today.
My favorite Halloween movie is Not Another Scary Movie.
I've never actually seen that. Is it actually funny?
Oh, yeah. I like
It's a
terrible
very
movies.
dumb.
Yes.
It's like a very dumb movie,
I like
right?
dumb movies.
Yeah.
I like great movies too, but I like dumb movies.
My friend wife, Becky, and I have been watching a lot of horror movies this season.
Cool.
Getting way.
Been watching some on Night Flight?
We have watched some on Night Flight. Night Flight has the horror movies where you're like, I don't know what I'm getting into here.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff looks real.
We tried to watch Children of the Corn the other night. Didn't really hold up.
It's funny that you mentioned that, but it's not that funny because we're talking about Halloween stuff. So Children of the Corn does play into my situation. And we watched it recently too, and I found it way less scary than
It wasn't
I
scary. It
thought.
was like kind of gruesome,
Yeah.
I guess, but not very scary. It was
I remember-
more boring than scary.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I remember being a kid and thinking, this is the scariest movie ever.
Yeah.
And then We even felt that kind of watching The Exorcist this time.
Yeah.
Which is a scary movie, and it is a disturbing movie. But
Well, it was
when
all
I was a
about
kid, it was like so scary to
because
me.
it's all about the, drawing up the the
Yeah.
suspense and like
Yeah.
sitting on the edge of your seat and like what's gonna happen. Now everyone has such a short attention span. Just things have to be happening constantly. That's why there's 37 Saw movies.
No, I will say that The Exorcist is insane. That it starts with like 20 minutes of basically another movie,
Right.
where the guy's in the Middle East, like finding the, whatever, the little statue thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
You got to
watching
get that backstory in.
You got to get that backstory in. So
Just checking my email while we're doing the show. No big
hey,
deal.
it's what we got to multitask, guys.
Yeah.
This is the
well,
age.
it's just the way I operate, right? I was opening my notes and I was like, hey, I'll check my email too at the same time. Why not?
Loot the Body saying Rosemary's Baby is still creepy. I agree. That is one of the genuine most scary movies.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Actually.
Me too. It's so good. You've got an incredible Rosemary's Baby poster in your office.
I do. The screen printed poster. Too.
Let's
Very
take
cool.
this camera and walk it. And I'm just kidding.
Let's take a tour.
Everything would get destroyed.
Ow. You see that? You see this thing? Look at this.
Ooh.
The craftsmanship on this thing. I'm getting stabbed by fake wood. You can hear it. It's fake wood covering my
Does
chair.
sound good.
Ow,
Rosemary's
it
Baby is the
hurts.
goat. Sam's Slenderman shadow. Slenderman's one of the internet creepy guys, right? He's creepy pasta. Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
I don't 100% know what that means, but I know that.
I thought it was
that's what
internet pasta. Or is it creepy pasta?
I think creepy pasta is like just like a.
How do you feel about pasta?
In general,
Yeah.
I think I'm pro. I'm pro pasta.
I'm not. I think it's stupid.
You find
think
it
it's dumb. I
you
think
find it a waste of carbs.
Yeah, we were talking about Italian food quite a bit because we were
Yeah.
in London, the home of Italian food, and there was a lot of Italian food. And the last night there, we ended up at like just a colossally terrible Italian food place because we were starving, and I just was going on a rant about how you have all these different pasta dishes, but they're all the same thing. They're just like a different
Pasta
shape.
with a sauce on
Yeah,
it.
it's like I'll have ziti. Well, I'll have macaroni. It's like, okay, cool. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's either this with red sauce or a white sauce or
Right.
a mix, and it's the shape of your pasta is really kind of the only thing. And sometimes it's stuffed.
You're not a fan of stuffed?
I'm just not a fan
That's
of it
just
at all.
How do you feel about spaghetti?
I don't really like spaghetti.
See, I love spaghetti.
I like spaghetti there's a couple places I like spaghetti. That's our ghost behind us. It's not just a shadow.
Hot
So you can pet
takes.
him. Hi.
Well, pasta talk.
I shaved, so I have an extra fat face today. I'm really appreciating that for
I think
everybody.
I think
today.
you look good. I haven't seen you in person in a couple days.
Thanks.
I saw you yesterday.
You did see me yesterday.
Previously, I hadn't seen you for like 7 weeks.
Or a couple weeks because you were in New York.
That's true. So anyway, literally everything I'm saying is incorrect, but I think you look good.
Thank you.
Let's talk lasagna. I mean, I like lasagna. I think Decoy's a guy who probably has strong pasta.
I'm a vegetarian.
Sure.
So you can't really. It's hard to find a vegetarian lasagna if you're in a restaurant.
You don't. Well, yeah. In a restaurant, you
can make one.
You can make because you'll eat cheese, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I will eat. I will eat
delicious-
exclusively cheese if that's what it came down to.
Is that what you had to do in London, old London town?
Pretty much.
Exclusive cheese diet.
London had terrible food, but they had great vegetarian options on the go. So if
Okay.
you're just looking for a straight up cheese and bread sandwich with no sauce, just a dry white cheese on a dry white bread, it's there.
They got it.
They got it
you
right there.
covered.
They got it in every single gas station, every single airport, gift shop. It's there.
Tesco's. Is that a
Tesco?
Is that
Tesco
a real thing?
Express is where we'd find that.
Tesco
Or,
is like their version
Brasco's
of QT
or something.
or
Anita, what was
whatever?
that place called? Like Billy Brasco's or something. There's some other shop that had a horrifying buffet
Yeah.
that was just like it was like out of a horror movie. Basically, it was like they had a big tray of just guacamole that looked like like kind of like a pudding, like a weird creepy Thanksgiving pudding that was supposed to be. I don't know. It was bad. It was real bad. Me and Lola were looking at it. And we were like,
You're not gonna get down with that. Decoy says they have a veggie lasagna at Pizzeria Bianco that made him cry. So
pizzeria. Okay. All right. I'll try that. Is
Let's
there
go
still like
right
a
now.
45-minute line to get into that overrated pizza shithole?
if I I feel like what I'm about to say is like the most bougie thing I've said yet, but here's the trick, guys. Go to Pane Bianco over at Town and Country. Same food. Honestly,
Here's
equal ambiance and usually not a 45-minute wait. And then when you get done, you can cruise over to
TJ's.
Nordstrom Rack.
You can also
see what you
just
got.
skip the pizza and go straight for that market sandwich.
That market
That's the
sandwich
best
is
thing I've ever
always
had in my life.
fantastic. Yeah. I hate typing that word, nacho lasagna.
What is nacho?
I don't even know what
lasagna
nacho-
is basically just wet nachos, kind of. If
The
you think
wettest.
about it, it's like soggy nachos. It's like if you took nachos and then you doused it in water and then put it in in an oven on broil. I
Wet.
think you'd end up with basically
wet
lasagna.
nachos. They had some. I was at TMI, the main ingredient, this last weekend, and they had a brunch menu going. I didn't know about this, including breakfast nachos, which I didn't get. But the idea of eggs on nachos seemed wrong to me. I don't know why.
It does seem.
It seemed off.
I don't really like eggs mixed with beans. Do you?
I love eggs mixed
Anita
with beans.
does. She likes
Yeah.
huevos rancheros. She likes chilaquiles.
Oh yeah.
I don't really
yeah.
like the combo of the eggs and the beans. It's too much.
Oh, Pane Bianco is by Lux. Pizzeria is at Town and Country. Okay,
Correct.
correct. Sorry.
Thanks, producer.
My bad, producer Anita. Thank you for the checks. And yeah, well, shit. What's
That's
been
right.
going on since we last did this?
I thought we were done.
And that's gonna bring us to a close, guys. Happy Halloween. This is Click Vortex. Enjoy your wet nachos.
It's very dry in Arizona.
Yeah, it's a dry time.
I don't think anyone's ever said that about this place.
Nope, not in reference to anything about this place. But speaking of things that are happening here in Arizona, we're going to be talking about spooky season. It's officially spooky season in Arizona. Other places as well.
I was going to talk about this. Well, I wasn't actually going to talk about it. I just was going to make a joke about how everything is pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
And yesterday we went to one of our. It's in our top. We actually at dinner we were rating in various categories our favorite Mexican food in Arizona. There was like takeout, sit down,
Sure.
ambiance,
Yeah.
chips and salsa, burritos. Anyway, that we could do an episode on that. But
Man, we could absolutely do an episode
one
on
of them,
burritos.
this is kind of like a trashy Mexican place, but it's like good. Because it's just amazing. It's Ajo Al's. Have you ever been there?
I have over on like 16th Street.
Yeah, like their menu looks like a ransom note basically, and
Yep.
it always smells like fajitas. Like you have to burn your clothes after you leave.
Yep.
But they had like a pumpkin themed Mexican food menu that was like pumpkin spice margaritas, like pumpkin nachos or something, and I don't know. I felt like it was taking the
pumpkin thing.
pumpkin thing a little too far.
I'm not like sold on all pumpkin
Because
things.
pumpkins are kind of gross, just in general.
Real pumpkin is not an especially.
No, so I don't know how that
pleasant
even really
taste.
became a thing because
If
like pumpkin pie,
I love pumpkin pie, but I'm well
but it's
aware
only
that
good
it's,
because of the 700 other things that are
it's
in
like
it.
the nutmeg and
Yeah. The pumpkin part is
the other
actually
stuff.
the disgusting part.
you just need it to get that little gelatinous,
Anita's such a foodie. She should have a food blog.
Trotto. Oh yeah, Trotto. Anita, you should. I'm telling you.
She's so hip to the food culture in Phoenix.
She's 100% right. That was the Van Buren location. Was another restaurant before that Bianco was also involved in. Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, the Roland's.
Roland's, yeah,
Roland's
which was
Market.
cool, and it's a great building.
That place had a really good matcha latte, from what I
Ooh.
remember, and I don't typically like that, but I tried it and it was good.
Speaking of matcha, I think is that what Salvador Cresto is always drinking?
I think so.
I think that since
Dude likes a matcha.
the last time we aired one of these,
Did we skip a week this
We
week?
did.
Or was that the last time? Yeah, we're delayed. We're a bit delayed here.
we're delayed, but since having hung out with you guys, I'm pretty sure, unless we mentioned it on the last
Wait, did
one.
we do
which
one of
maybe
these when
we
I
did.
got back from after London?
Yeah, because we talked about snacks. Anita messaged me that
Yeah, I
she
blocked
bought
that
some-
whole episode out of my brain.
some
And
Whoppers.
sometimes I'll go back and listen to them, but that one I didn't.
Well, it's a good thing you blocked it out because I pick up on one of our threads from it.
Okay, cool.
So
Good.
I'll remind you.
And I'm going to talk about John Lennon again exclusively. So
I mean, it's funny, but you're not off the path. What am I talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway, Salvador Cresta, Midnight Music Review in the Attic, a Wastoids production. You can now watch it on Night Flight.
Night Flight is awesome.
Night Flight's killing it.
It really, truly
They're
is so
always
awesome.
killing it, and it's really fun to be in league with the folks at Night Flight and have our Salvador he's a modern. He's just one of the dudes. He's so real about it. He's hanging out, macho nacho man.
Yep.
Bob VP. There's a reason why you're the VP, man. Which stands for vice president, or anyway. He drinks
There's so many things
matcha.
that
He
could
looks
stand
so
for.
cool. He's like a little werewolf mask. Anyway, you can watch
He's wearing pink sort of semi-transparent pants with striped underwear underneath them.
his butt crack.
Yep.
Features pretty significantly in the show.
Prominent crack.
Prominent crack.
I'm gonna add that to the band.
Prominent
name list.
crack. You've heard of leftover
Band
crack.
names. Prominent crack.
Prominent crack. Salvador is the best, and he does the animation for our music news segment that we do every Friday. So anyway, he's great, and I'm excited to have those shows on Night Flight. But if you don't have Night Flight, you can also watch them at Wastoids because we are a equal opportunity platform.
Toyed. This is episode 40.
Wow,
That's
Reminds
that's
me-
like 80 weeks.
that's insane. That's insane. But they said you guys will never make it to 40 episodes.
This now exceeds the last podcast I didn't hit 40. I think it was 38 or 39. So this is now
We did it.
we did it, guys.
All right, and that'll be it, guys. Thanks for hanging out here on Click Vortex. No, I'm just kidding. Well, let's get into some clicks. We decided to pick a very loose.
We decided to pick a topic and then not even go for it. Just
No.
something sort of spooky.
Spooky
I
adjacent.
had my so a little backstory on today.
Mm-hmm.
I had my laptop, or some people like to call it my laptop, sitting on the couch watching something I don't remember, and I was like, I'm just going to take a little bit of a 2-minute nap here. I'm a little thrown off still, and then I woke up this morning on the couch. So I didn't do I did no research. I did nothing. I woke up, I grabbed my laptop, and I was like, I should probably pull something out of my ass right now, and that's what I did.
I can't
And that's
wait.
today.
I am so. I
So,
mean, that really.
bringing my top game here.
Look, as you've.
I'm a true improv master.
As you've no doubt heard, there's a lot of things happening in the world. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of swirling around. It's hard to keep your head on straight these days.
Especially when it's so dry here.
And it's so dry. Did you hear that little bonk noise when I moved these files into this folder?
Yeah, of course.
So that means everybody heard it.
Yeah.
So they heard
Yeah,
that
there it is.
too. Cool. Just doing a little organization while we get into a little dad nap.
Just a little bit of a dad nap at 11 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
I had to go to a neighborhood meeting, which got us to dinner late at Aho Al's with the pumpkin spice nachos, which just threw me off completely. Then I'm on like a 54-day walking streak.
Dude,
So that's some cool news. I walked 400 miles on this last trip.
that's legit.
Yeah, it was an average of about 8.6
Wow.
per day. But anyway, I'm keeping it up in Arizona, and that's not an easy thing to do, especially when it's so dry and hot.
Right.
But we also, so after dinner, we went on a walk around the block. Got bombarded by roaches, because that's really cool.
The flying ones?
I saw more roaches last night than I saw in all of New York City in 7 or 8 weeks.
I don't like that. I don't like
But yeah,
that
so
one bit.
I was a little wiped out last night.
Hey,
So I just decided, you know what? This show's not that important. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
I mean, Bob VP is important.
Yeah.
Loot the
No, I'm
Body is
kidding.
important.
I love doing this, and I
All
am
the
a
memes.
professional. So of course, when I woke up, I knocked it out of the park.
I can't wait to hear. Let's hear this grand slam.
Oh, is it
Speaking
my
of,
turn? I'm still working on it, actually.
yeah, I think it is. I think
I
it
was
is you this time.
Checking my email, hoping for some inspiration, but
Yeah.
nothing came in.
Somebody emailed you. Here's what to do on Click Vortex today.
Yeah. So when you take a little dad nap, and and you're like, I just talked about John Lennon, so I can't talk about John Lennon again. I'm not really talking about John Lennon, but I am kind of rehashing some Sam Means themes here. One I've mentioned at least 800,000 times is Coast to Coast AM.
Means themes.
Means themes.
Coast to Coast AM.
Means themes.
Yeah, I wish I had a drop for that. We've got like the video mix-up
Yeah.
drop. We need a.
Did you do that
means
sound?
themes. Oh no, that was Chris.
Okay, because you just did a good impression of that, actually. So I
A
thought
lot
it
of
was
people,
you.
a lot of people don't know how good I am at impressions, but I am.
You're pretty good.
I'm very good at impressions, guys. I won't do a single one for you though.
Yeah. So
You
we
have to pay me
so
for
we
that.
both let's hear your George Norrie impression.
Well, it's me, George Norrie. And
That's
I
pretty
can't
good.
do George Norrie. He's not that. Carnivora. Ronald Reagan had it delivered to the White House.
Lear Capital Gold Exchange.
Yeah, gold. It's all about gold with those dudes.
Yeah. So we love Coast to Coast. At least the idea of it.
I caught
The ghost of Coast to Coast.
Well, and Ghost to Ghost
Space Ghost,
is
Coast
the
to Coast.
awesome ones that they would do around this time.
I'm sure they still do.
I was out late. Friday night, the night that
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, we went to Dirty Drummer because our boy Decoy set up an incredible show. It was a Wastoids extravaganza with Heavy
Yeah.
Breather. And
Sorry I missed that, but I saw a lot of footage.
it was great, and we're going to be sharing more of that footage soon. So just hang tight.
Hang
I
tight.
know everybody's on the edge of their seat.
Hang tight.
But I was listening to Coast on the way back from that because if I'm in the car late at night, I almost will always check in to see if it's going. And it was Ian Punnett, and I like Ian Punnett.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. I suspect Ian will be taking over.
To me, he's my favorite of the bunch, straight up. But he was dealing with some terrible callers. You know, when the callers will call in, and it's like, this is more of a comment than a question, and then
Right.
they'll just talk for.
Well, because they're like truckers.
Yeah, they got
just
nothing.
bored.
They've got nothing going on. But there was a guy who was he was basically like talking about the number 13, and he was like, Tupac Shakur got killed on the 13th, and then
We're mentioning Tupac yesterday. We were like, that was weird news. It just kind of came and went.
Exactly that they arrested somebody in.
And we were like, that guy probably is already out. But did you hear what happened?
No.
He named P. Diddy as giving him $1 million to kill Tupac.
Diddy.
And then I went down a little rabbit hole down there. This is my own little personal click Vortex. But apparently Diddy also gave everyone their publishing back like a couple months ago. So like he saw this coming maybe. Diddy's going to end up in jail.
Did he do it?
Did he do it? In New York, we passed Bad Boy Industries?
Yeah.
The building that was in, you can still sort of see like the dirt shadow of the signage in Midtown.
Wow.
And it's like the biggest wasteland that you've ever seen in your life. It's really kind of sad, but not really
I gotta
anymore. now that
I
know
gotta
that Diddy
dig into this
Tupac.
to this Diddy thing. Yeah, I mean,
This might be some like fake stuff I read on the internet, but because I did read it on the internet last night and I didn't really look into it.
Well,
except for in the comments, which are always 100% accurate.
Yeah, especially when it comes to anything like this. Miranda says Tupac's not dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's accurate.
That's a rock and roll conspiracy theory.
Oh, and it was hard for me not to.
We'll bring that up in part 2.
Well, yeah, because like I've found a bunch more, and I love that topic. Maybe we'll do a whole Click Vortex mini series of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, so basically I'm stalling because I don't want to actually have to talk about what I.
Well, we're about half hour in, and we so far have mostly talked about nachos.
Yeah.
You guys ready for some horror?
So Coast to Coast. So I
Coast to
too
Coast.
also pretty much only listen to this now if I'm driving home late at night. Usually when I'm coming back from my parents' house because they live about 30 or 40 minutes from me, and we end up staying there until 11 o'clock at night or something. So we'll kick on a little Coast to Coast action. And I discovered. I remember when I was growing up, my uncle would fall asleep to Coast. He had an old radio.
I love that.
And it would just be blasting, and I would stay at their house a lot, and so I would just hear it from the other room as I was, watching TV, or I would turn it off to listen in on whatever he was listening to.
Yeah.
But I really got into it. Funny memes about Jada Pinkett Smith and Tupac. Yeah, Chris. I think actually Decoy said something about that yesterday, right? There's something about Tupac and Jada Pinkett Smith. Anyway, we're not allowed to talk about her. I don't think. I think that's been stated.
You get slapped.
Yeah, you get slapped for something like that. Anyway, so on tour, I'm
Coast to Coast. That's when you got really. It's funny because I think
I'm leaning on some old stories from me.
I love it.
out of the treasure box.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, so picked it up on late night drives. It was consistent. That's why you really could listen to it. You needed to stay awake, and so you needed something kind of compelling to listen to.
For sure.
Everyone else was sleeping. Typically, you had a copo, as we would call it, the co-pilot.
Yeah.
The co-pilot, and you would just sort of talk about what you were listening to, laugh about what you were listening to, get freaked out about whatever you were listening to, and then tell everybody about it next morning. You know, someone would be like, yes, I was sort of drifting out in and out of consciousness and was listening to that. That was really freaky.
Just like your uncle falling asleep to it.
Exactly. So this was before smartphones, obviously. That's how old I am. So we had to really depend on radio. And actually kind of the fun part about it was you'd be listening to it, and it would get static, more static,
Sure.
more static, more static.
Sure.
And then eventually you would lose it, and you'd have to like tune in to find the next town.
Because it
was syndicated in pretty much everywhere.
So it was almost everywhere, which is part of what made it so.
The funny thing would be and also sort of frustrating would be if you were, you know, crossing a time zone when that happened,
you'd end up hearing
you'd either end up hearing it again, or you would end up missing something.
Yeah, exactly.
That you wanted to hear. A spoiler alert would hit you quick. So that was fun. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about some, you know, I guess I just got to thinking about that this morning when I was frantically trying to figure out what to talk about. And the first thing that came to mind was, okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about Hotel California on the last episode. I remember that from Rock and Roll Conspiracy Theory. So I was like, I'll just sort of start there because that's spooky. But I didn't really start there. I actually ended up ending there, and I just went through this whole thing. So I was thinking back to my touring days, driving around, seeing the country. It was all super cool. There we go. Got some coast to coast bumper music, the pan flute.
I know this is one of your favorites, Inca Dance. And I thought it would go good while you're telling your story.
Yes, because I also used to, when I got the app, I would fall asleep to the app, which didn't contain any ads.
Right.
And so in the long ad breaks, they would just play the pan flute stuff. Or like
I love
random,
it.
It was amazing.
Or like the thunder.
That's what would kind of wake you up. Like you're just about to fall asleep, and then yeah.
Clearly, we're obsessed with this shit. And I mean, you listen to a song like Inca Dance by Cusco.
It's legit good. I mean, this stuff is all very, very good.
There's no denying
It's not just like a nostalgic thing. It is.
No.
This is actually a pretty killer song. Listen to it. This part right here. Oh, no. Wait, never mind. It's coming in. I got lost.
That's the best part right there as far as...
I think the best part is... Dee, diddly,
oh,
diddly,
yeah.
diddly, diddly,
Yeah.
diddly.
So good.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep talking. You can keep that on if you want. It'll help this boring segment that I'm talking about. It's so distracting though because I love it so much.
I know. I can't wait till we
it.
get copyright flagged for playing the entirety of Cusco's
I think that's
Inca
impossible.
Dance.
I think he's waived all rights.
I'm sure.
This.
I love how not a single thing sounds like a real instrument. It all sounds like a keyboard doing almost all of it, except the flutes do sound like a real flute.
I would kill to see this performed live by somebody. Actually, that's such a good idea. Actually, for somebody for a live band to exclusively play original Coast to Coast bumper music.
It would be so cool because you could do Witchy Woman. That shadow in between you guys is probably the spookiest thing so far. Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm gonna stop.
It just gets so real at that point too. Okay. Anyway, so I was thinking about touring, drive around, seeing the country, and while it is very cool, I'm sure you can imagine it does get somewhat monotonous at times. So
yeah.
I was thinking back to how tours would just sort of naturally develop certain themes. So it might be like, oh, well, in this tour, we really like all the opening bands. We're all friends. It's kind of like no one's in a bus or anything. We're all driving around in vans. So we're going to do all of our days off at parks or lakes or something and have a little veggie barbecue or something. Or which actually on one of those I almost drowned in a lake because maybe I told that story before. I thought I knew how to swim and I realized I kind of didn't know how to swim long distances.
I mean, that's not great.
I'd made a huge mistake.
Like Job on Arrested Development.
Yes. And then on another tour, we decided that we were going to stay exclusively at haunted hotels. So that's how I kind of got there, starting from Hotel California, which I see you're pulling that up, but I am gonna end with that. So I'll get to.
No worries.
Anyway, so I was just thinking, okay, well, what were some of the hotels that we stayed at? And I think we actually even, when I was thinking back, we got a book. Because that was another thing we would do. Like on days off, we would always end up at a Barnes and Noble, which was just a good place to A, go to the bathroom, and B, just waste hours. So
Yeah.
you were really lucky if you pulled up in your van and you were anywhere within walking distance of a Barnes & Noble.
I used to I would absolutely go to the Barnes & Noble at like Chandler Fashion Square and just...
It's just such a good place to kill time.
I'd
if
grab
you have
a
nowhere else to be.
issue of Punk Planet, that
Sure,
magazine.
yeah.
I'd go sit at the cafe, order
those
a
are all
coffee.
on the Internet Archive.
That's so
you can see all
cool.
those.
That's such a good magazine.
Anyway, so the first one I thought about was the Ambassador Hotel in Milwaukee, and you don't have to, I have pictures of this also, but I'll come back around anyway. I like to come around full circle. I really thought this one through. But there was an episode of Clairaudience which told the story, where I actually told the story of my stay in the Ambassador Hotel. So I won't tell that again, but you can go back and find that. And I actually couldn't find the episode of that, so we'll have to go back and maybe drop it in the show notes or something.
We'll have to dig around. I know we talked about Milwaukee at one point.
We did talk about Milwaukee,
But you also told the story of the Ambassador.
I called in.
Yeah.
I think I gave a fake name. I called in and said, "This is
Pam.
This is Pam." That's my mom's name. This is Pam. Pam means telling you about this story of when I was on tour. Anyway, so across the street from the Ambassador, by the way, is the Rave, which you mentioned that yesterday. You might. I don't. Are you talking about the Rave today?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
No. I'm not talking about the Rave
Oh,
today.
okay. Okay, I thought you might.
that.
So I had some pictures and some cool stuff we can pull up there too. But I wanted to point out, also, Clairaudience, that episode from talking about Milwaukee, talking about the Rave, is really cool. You should go find that. I could find that one. It's called Buddy's Ghost, and it has some really good music. It's some really good writing by your boy over here,
And some
JPW.
great voice acting by one Mandy Kimes.
Mandy Kimes.
Yeah, we did a little shout out because the Clairaudience. We've both been talking about. I'm having a hard time.
There's a lot of inside jokes going on
concentrating
in the comments.
Just Barnes and Noble pooper.
Many inside jokes going on here.
But yeah.
Actually, and I was. Did I ever tell you that the dude from American Movie that died recently?
Oh yeah.
What's that guy's name? We met him at the Rave in Milwaukee.
Oh, that's so cool.
He came. We got in touch with him after seeing that movie. We just like emailed him. And we were like, "Oh, Mike Shank."
Mike Shank.
We were like, "Hey, Mike, you should come to the show. We're going to be in Milwaukee." And he's like, "Okay." And he showed up, and we hung out with him. And I just sort of recently actually unearthed some video footage of that.
Dude.
I know. I gotta find.
Let's digitize that.
I actually unearthed quite a bit of video footage actually of tours, which will be amazing someday when someone wants to, put together some kind of.
Guys, we might have just figured out
thing.
the next Wastoids project.
Yeah. So anyway, Ambassador Hotel. This was in Milwaukee. Go back and go check it out. But in Milwaukee, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rave because that was sort of like a staple of touring, and I think really kicked off a lot of the spooky stuff that was happening on this tour in particular. We went back to the Rave in Milwaukee. We stayed at the Ambassador, and then we were like, you know what? We've done a little bit of exploring around the Rave, but let's do some like serious exploring and just kind of sneak around and see what we can get to. Before that, I think we had gone down to the pool with a band called Limbeck because they had been there before and told us about it. But I wanted to show some pictures of this place because it's apparently one of the most haunted hotels in America. This was a Jeffrey Dahmer situation. The Ambassador, and then across the street, coincidentally, is apparently one of the most haunted venues in America, and this place has gone through a crazy history. Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and all those people played there on the tour before they died, which is what that Clairaudience episode is about.
Right, 'cause people are saying
there were some weird secret society type things going down here. It's an incredibly cool building. So let's go through some of these pictures of the Rave and kind of just point out some of this stuff. So this place was built a long time ago, as you can see.
Is this I got the right one pulled up?
You got the right one, yeah. So this is the Rave.
Hey, Patrick's here.
Oh, no way. There you go. So
Limbeck.
Patrick knows so much about this place. Yeah. So I feel like Limbeck turned us on to the spookiness of this place.
Too cool.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like. And so there's some really cool things here. There's, I guess, the two most iconic parts of this building are the basement, and where there's a gigantic pool, like an empty pool, and then there's this grand ballroom at the top, which I had never seen the grand ballroom until the second or third. Yeah. So this is a really old picture, as I'm sure you can tell. It doesn't look quite the same today, but pretty similar. Let's go to the second picture. Let's see what it is. So
Okay, well, we're gonna have to do a little.
This little switcheroos.
Yeah, there's some
switcheroosing happening. Switcheroosing. Is that a word?
As you can see,
I think that's a word.
It does the thing where my.
Oh yeah.
But hey, it's okay.
It's gonna be really hard to just sort of sift through these photos.
Oh no, we can get through it. We're gonna be rocking through. This is the ballroom.
Well, I kind of feel like, I don't know. Maybe Patrick knows, he's in here. So I don't know. I feel like this is not the ballroom. This might be downstairs, sort of off to the side, where maybe. So there's two rooms in here. There's a small one. I think it's called the Eagle's Nest, which is a smaller room, and then there's a big room, which is the Rave. And then upstairs, I'm assuming they do events and stuff upstairs at some point in time, but.
This looks like a great place to have a seance.
I mean, these pictures just really remind me of The Shining, which is another haunted hotel. It's the Stanley in Estes Park, Colorado. So these pictures are all very similar. Let's go to the next one if you can pull it up, which is even more so. It has the Shining vibes.
Oh my god.
The Sasquatch. Sorry, for some reason I was just picturing this would be on a screen and we could just kind of flip through them easily. So
it's okay.
Apologize.
We're knocking it out. This is the most Shining-esque thing I ever did.
Yeah, so this is very much like that Shining photo.
Oh,
I almost
like it.
kind of feel like, I mean, maybe this must have been a style of photo that was taken, in this day where they would just get everyone together. So this is the ballroom.
But if you zoom in, you'll see Sam Means. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. You'll see Anton LeVay.
This is the ballroom?
Yeah, this is the ballroom. So this is I mean, look how many people are in there too. It's crazy. This place is huge.
It's packed.
I remember this being probably even bigger than it is, but let's see. So anyway, the cool thing about the ballroom is a couple times later we were on tour with Limbeck was probably even there too. But we were touring with the Honorary Title, and yeah, this kind of gives you a little bit better idea of the scale without as many people in it.
Sure, it's huge.
It's huge. So we snuck up there. It was me and Nate and Jared Gorbell from the Honorary Title and this dude Aaron that was in the Honorary Title as well. They probably did stand there for 4 hours to get that shot. And we recorded a song, and I think I have some video footage of that somewhere too. And
you recorded a song up there?
Yeah, so we recorded a song up there, and it's incredibly.
Did you use
cool sounding echo?
What did you use? Did you have like a little handheld?
Yeah, we were doing. Yeah, so they had a little, like an M-Box and a laptop.
Sure.
That was the cool thing that was going on there. Is you could do some demos with the M-Box at that point in time.
Because nowadays,
it's like 2006, 2007. You had to have the thing.
Yeah. Nowadays, you could just whip out your iPhone and it'd probably sound okay. But
yeah, so this was on an M-Box and it was.
That's awesome.
I think an M-Box. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It was something like that.
Were all those people just staying at the hotel, or are they just trapped there for all eternity?
They're still there.
They're still there.
They're trapped. Sure. They're trapped there. So the other thing is this pool. So I wanted to show a picture of that. So this is the fun part and I think this is like most people's initiation at the rave is to find this pool. You want to go find this pool, and there's no lights. You just you got a flash. Someone has a flashlight. You dig a flashlight out of the glove box. You go down through this boiler room, which I'll show a picture of that too, and then you end up at this pool. So it looked very amazing, and and it's quite spooky still.
Yeah.
In this photo.
So it's empty.
It's empty now, and so now it's very creepy. So let's see it now. I think there's another photo we can check out here, but you're working overtime here, buddy.
That pool reminds me of the pool. One of my very first memories is being in an indoor pool. This is the indoor.
So picture how freaky this is, even though you're like giggling. You're with all your friends and you're just like, this is scary.
Picturing water dripping.
Yeah. Yeah. You're hearing clanking. You're hearing all kinds of things. It's like, it's spooky. It's a little spooky. So then you get down to this pool. I got one more picture. Sorry. I got one more picture of this.
I'm just saying, look how friggin' I'm pro at this.
Yeah, Lute's trying to figure out what exactly is the theme of the show. I think I'm sort of trying to figure that out too. So this is what it looks like now. If you're watching on YouTube and you can actually see this, you can see
that's the pool.
This is
you can see the lines.
You can see what it looks like. So it's dark. It's creepy. I don't know what that table's doing down there. Someone set that up. That's a remnant from something. But Anyway, this place is freaky. Okay, that's the point. That's the point of this show.
That's
is,
the
like,
theme. Freaky
It was just
stuff.
fun. It was just fun to, like, I don't know, hang out with your friends, go out and do some freaky stuff, and try to scare yourself.
Milwaukee is a haunted ass place too. I feel like that's where my friend wife Becky's family comes from, and her dad lives out there. And I love to visit Milwaukee, but I feel like they're obsessed with serial killers out there. They're always like.
I just read that Milwaukee was named like the 3rd or 4th greatest city in the country, which I seriously disagree with. It's a cool place, but I don't know. It was above New York. New York was like number 7. I was shocked.
I like it, but I don't know.
It might be up there. They have good cheese.
Very haunted. They got cheese.
They have
got
cool
beer.
haunted hotels. They have cool haunted venues.
The
They
Rave.
have cheese and beer. Yeah, they got it all. Anyway, so that's the Rave. So then I was like, all right, well, what else is there? And I was remembering, I was remembering what the ambassador looked like. It was like, I feel like it actually kind of looked like the Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, and it does look a lot like it. And I also, on this tour, we stayed in Hotel Monte Vista, or actually maybe just after. I have another kind of funny story for how we ended up there, but we stayed in. What I remember about that hotel is every room had a different celebrity's name on the door or next to it.
Yeah.
And it was, I guess, who had stayed there over time. It was this place where a lot of celebrities would go. And we stayed in the Zane Grey room, who I think Zane Grey actually had quite a bit to do with building that thing.
Yeah. I've stayed in the Zane Grey room there too. And
It's weird. There's like old, like grandma furniture everywhere and like doilies.
yeah, you know what's funny, and I'm just blowing her spot up, even though she's not here, but friend wife Becky does not appreciate, let's just say my view on the paranormal has evolved over time.
Yeah.
I used to be maybe more dismissive, so she would not appreciate when I would like make jokes and stuff about ghosts, because she's
A ghost herself.
sensitive to the ghostly apparitions, and she sensed that the Monte Vista, she got very, very spooky vibes. She felt presences.
It's a spooky place.
is.
When we were there, we ended up there very, very late because we got stuck in a snowstorm. We were supposed to be picking up our friend Don, who was taking the Amtrak train in from
oh yeah, there's an
from
Amtrak.
New York because he was afraid to fly, and we quite literally got stuck on the road wearing, in typical format fashion, wearing flip-flops and jeans, and pushed my 1996 Toyota Avalon out of the snow, ended up in Flagstaff, and then his train was delayed, so we had to stay at the Monte Vista. Was the only place we can get a room at that hour, and we were just like super freaked out. Super freaked out.
I'm gonna go ahead and say something else about the Monte V. Kind of a dump.
It is a serious dump.
It's kind of a dump. I
it's
still
a
like
serious
it,
dump.
and I
It's
would.
like Congress. Like, it's the same. Congress kind of looks the same too, and has a similar sign, I believe.
I find Congress to be a much more elevated stay than the Monte V. But
I haven't been to
that's me.
I haven't stayed at Congress in a while. Congress reminds me of like a hotel you'd read about in like On the Road or something.
Yeah, I think that must be why I like it so much. I've had like
It's a writer's hotel.
I've had an intense romantic attraction to that place forever. I just feel, I love it.
Yeah. So
Monte V.
Another cool thing I read about Monte V, and I just wanted to sort of tie all this together here with clairaudience and all this stuff, is at one time it was the home to a very historic radio station. Mary Costigan was the second woman in the world to be granted a radio broadcasting license in 1927, and she set up a 25-watt radio station at the Opera House, which is actually now the Orpheum Theater.
Oh, sure.
And then 2 years later, she moved it to the Monte Vista Hotel.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
And there's a radio station in Hotel Congress now.
Yeah. So that I guess that was a thing.
I love it. It's like and I love that radio station little kiosk is still at the Monte V, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's cool. And this is I got a photo. I found a photo of her.
This is her?
Clairaudience vibes here. Look at that.
It's about as clairaudience as the vibes get.
Because we before we revealed Ursa Lowley, we had sort of like a fake photo of a woman from the early 1900s that we found.
Yeah.
Holding a, I don't know. It's not.
Loot the Body says, I bet Mary Costigan made a mean calzone.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
And she loved spaghetti.
Lewd the Body's actually finally starting to unravel the tangled web that I've laid out for everybody to make some sense of it. Thank you.
I love it.
So yeah, I thought that was really cool. She would run a show for 3 hours a day from the Monte Vista, and I feel like, it sucks. We don't do that anymore.
I mean, I suppose like
Anita's getting hungry.
I suppose that if you gave me like, here's a wand, I probably would pick something like just
a calzone.
Doing a radio show at a hotel.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Northern Exposure, so I like the idea of like a morning show
Great
type
show.
thing,
Yeah.
where K-Bear.
Yeah.
Anyway, and a hotel would be the place to do it. Most there are cool hotels in Phoenix still, but they're
There are San Carlos.
San Carlos is a cool
I think
one.
that's probably haunted. I think
gotta
pretty
be.
much any hotel that's not like a DoubleTree, people just say it's haunted.
Yeah, probably even some of those.
I remember, speaking of London, we stayed at a Motel 6 or something, but directly outside the window was a graveyard. Like you could touch a headstone outside of the window, and it was a graveyard from like the 1400s or something.
Yeah,
just
that's
on the side of
intense.
a highway. Anyway,
When I was at Zia, I would sometimes do out of town events with my friend Zach Frankel, my friend and colleague. And one time we were at a Motel 6, and we opened the door to his room. I think I was like going with him. We're rooms next to each other, and we opened the door to his room, and all the drawers were open and all the doors were open.
and Will Anderson must have stayed there. That's
Every
a personal inside joke that only I would get. Okay.
Every single thing was open, and he just opened the door and he said, "Nope," and he shut the door and he went down and he got another room.
Excuse me, ma'am. I request a room where my drawers are closed.
Yeah, he just found there was something too unsettling about it.
Yeah,
which is
that is creepy.
anytime you're in a hotel, you're thinking about the fact that other people have been there. But that's like
So I was thinking that. I was like, why is it always hotel? It's like hotels and hospitals.
Yeah.
I guess it's just places where a lot of people
die.
or have the potential to die. There's just so many people, the odds are somebody's going to die somewhere. So Luther Body said K-Rock in Southern California used to broadcast from the Pasadena Hilton.
That's
See?
awesome.
We got to bring that back. Let's contact San Carlos, Hotel San Carlos. Let's get that rolling.
Let's get it going.
Let's do our show from there instead of here. Anyway, to wrap this up, so I'm like,
Do we want to look at this other photo of the?
oh yeah, we can pull up Monte Vista. People just want to see it. It's a really cool hotel.
As you mentioned, very similar to Congress, right? With the name on the
I
top.
love that
I love
sign.
it. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it
really
too.
cool. There's a
Beyond.
one. You see those in kind of every major city. If they aren't total jerks, have saved at least one of those in their town. Yeah, it would be really nice to order room service. I could use like a hot tea right now. Did I mention it's dry?
Yeah,
It's quite dry.
and I'm yeah, I could use a lot. I kind of overdid it on coffee. I thought maybe I could
You're jazzed up.
I thought that maybe I could
I was wondering why you're so excited.
push I was like, I got the Vax last night, guys. No offense. Sorry. I got the 5Gs
Vaxxed
swimming
and
in me
waxed.
right now. Yeah, vaxxed, taxed, and ready to. I said this last night. Vaxxed, taxed, and ready to paxed. And then I was like, that's not
That
a real
doesn't make
thing.
any sense.
And Becky's like, no, packs are a vape thing. And I was like,
Oh, sweet.
cool. So I'm psyched.
Oh, and you sent me that cool thing from the radio station that played a format song and it's sponsored by like TJ's Vape and Weed Supply or something.
Yeah, it was the 420
The
song
420
selection
420
yesterday
hour.
on KW.
Scooter's Vape Shop or something like that.
Yeah, it was the Scoot Vape Shop.
Yeah, so you're all jabbed up. You're hyper caffeinated.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
mess.
Well, anyway, so I set out, as I sort of pointed out, I set out to actually talk about Hotel California is really where all this started. I wanted to talk about Hotel California. And, because I had always heard, and I have to admit, I never really looked into it because I hate the Eagles, but I had heard that the Eagles Hotel California was about, had this crazy devil worshiping satanic stuff to it. The song was about the devil, something Anton LeVay. I love The Shadow. It's so great.
It is spooky.
It is spooky.
I think it's like a.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think of it like an alien.
So I looked it up and I was like, well, there's got to be so much cool, fun stuff here. And you know what? There wasn't. And I was like, where did this even come from? And of course, it came from a reverend in 1980, Reverend Paul Risley of the Cornerstone Church in Burlington, Wisconsin, alleged that Hotel California referred to a San Francisco hotel that was purchased by Anton LeVay and converted into his Church of Satan. So that did actually exist. So Anton had this black building, you know, that like row house is.
Yeah.
His was all black, and that was the Church of Satan. It was pretty cool looking, actually. And the song also allegedly contained some backward masking, which I won't get into because I got to say I couldn't find it. It was a mass. We've done a show on backward masking. This was not impressive whatsoever.
Isn't there something about the lyric, the stab it with the steely knives, but you just can't kill the beast?
Apparently it says, yes,
something.
Satan, he organized his own religion. It was delicious. He puts it in his vat and fixes it for his son and gives it away. I mean, come on. I couldn't even find video of this. In fact, I found more video mocking the backward masking potential in Hotel California than I could find actual evidence of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought there was more. Turns out, right on brand for the Eagles. This is an incredibly boring, boring click, and really, just truly, the entire case was based on the fact that Anton LeVay had a Church of Satan in California.
Sure.
That was it. It wasn't a hotel. It was a church, but you know, it's basically a hotel.
Yeah.
That's what this guy was saying. And on the back cover, there was a shadowy figure of, you know, just a bald guy, maybe. So we can show that picture.
That's what we got here?
Yeah, so this is a zoom in on like the dude was basing this entire thing on the fact that the song mentions California.
So we're saying that this bald man
standing here up in
is definitely this bald man.
But even if he was there, that there's nothing else to it. There's nothing else to it whatsoever. Anyway, so Don Henley, which I mean, it pained me to even have to read an entry that Don Henley participated in, because that guy's like the literal worst. But he was just like, no, it's not Anton LeVay. It was actually an Elektra Records marketing guy, because that's who most of those people were.
Sure.
We're just record label people who wanted to be on the back cover of this record. They just brought him in to take the photo. So turns out
big hit.
Turns out nothing there, but hey man, I don't want to spoil the lore. So if you can find something else, hit us up at do we have our overlays still?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hit us up at 1-800. Oh no, that's not what it is. 1-877 Wastoids. Last night Lola
so close.
Lola was signing or filling out a form to go to a homecoming at a different school, and they asked for her parents' phone number, and I gave 1-877 Wastoids.
I hope that they really call.
I do too.
Well, that's
it.
Spooky hotel stuff. I enjoy it. I enjoy it very much.
What was my segment called? Means blah, blah, blah.
Means themes.
Means themes. Yeah, so I'm gonna.
All right. Well, we got to get back to these. What a showman. Yeah, I like that, the way he closed the laptop too. Well, cool. So, you know, it's funny that you mentioned how you were like, we just talked about John Lennon. We can't talk more about him.
Limbeck shout out. I'm going to do that every time Patrick's here.
I was like, no, I actually do want to talk about John Lennon. But, of course, I just mean the person who murdered John Lennon.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
Right.
Here we go. This is...
Clearly.
I think after...
So we have decided over the last 2 weeks it was, in fact.
Yeah. At first, I was mocking and thinking that the subject of last episode was completely out of his gourd. But now I'm convinced King did it.
Yeah, you really only need one thing to make a connection.
Yeah. And in the case of this, I mean, Stephen King has, even talked about the Beatles. So, know he's probably obsessed. Of course, we're joking, but I did... Talking about Stephen King caused me to pull this book out, which is called On Writing.
Okay.
And it's Stephen King's book. It's not going to surprise you to know, based on the title, that it's about writing.
Okay.
This is, you can see...
He's a writer.
You can see here, this is where my cat, may he rest in
Nibbles?
peace, Peter, got a little
What was Peter's first name?
Walter.
Yeah.
Walter, and then...
R.I.P. Walter, R.I.P. Peter.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Peter.
R.I.P. Peter. I did love that guy. He's a good little guy. But, he chewed up a little bit of this book. This is actually the only Stephen King book I've ever read. I've seen so many Stephen King...
I don't blame you.
I've seen so many Stephen King, movies and TV adaptations and...
Thinner.
All the... The Frighteners... Is that Stephen King? I can't remember.
I think so.
I think... but... It's probably my favorite Stephen King book. I'm not a fan of torturing kids, and so many of his other books go there.
Yeah,
That's
he's a bit
true.
of a freak.
But this is like one of the best books on writing. It really changed my life when I first initially read it. It was really, really, it's just like full of like solid tips and tricks and very funny and also very personal and easy to read. So
It's also very short for a Stephen King book.
Oh yeah, it's like pretty.
It's not much to it.
So what he talks about
300 pages there, 250.
Let's take a look here. What we got? We're looking at
Oh, you got some notations in there.
Well, to be fair, these are actually Stephen's notations.
Oh, cool.
And he edited a story here. And
I thought you were taking extensive notes in this book.
No, I wish, but
we're about 300 pages on this bad boy.
Yeah,
not bad.
It's really good.
You read that in a couple sittings.
So in the intro, he talks about something that he is really into, which is, did you know Stephen King was in a band?
No. Was he in the Fake Zombies?
He wasn't. Stephen King was in the Fake Zombies with the guys from ZZ Top. No, he was in a band called the Rock Bottom Remainders, also known as the Remainders, which was, according to Wikipedia, I love this phrase, an American rock charity supergroup consisting of popular published writers. Most of them also amateur musicians.
Oh, so this was like an after they were famous kind of a band.
Yeah, so he got together with some friends like Dave Barry and Amy Tan and
that's cool.
Mitch Albom and Barbara Kingsolver, and then they had like some other. Roger McQuinn helped out at one point
from the Birds.
From the Birds.
The Turtles.
Al Cooper chimed in.
Okay.
Like they got all their like
they'd
get like cool friends. Wait, that's Al Stewart.
Oh, that's Al Stewart, yeah.
But
Al Cooper.
But Al Cooper is just like a guitar god.
Yeah, we've talked about Al Cooper, or you have.
And it's a fun little thing. But so I was like, I don't know, I wonder. He talks about how.
Wait, so what does Stephen King play?
He plays guitar,
oh.
And
what's his axe?
Well, this is really where it becomes important for me to get this ready. 1 second here. I should have been ready to go. I messed up. I blew it.
You're cool. Next time I'm going to give you 25 pictures to show everybody.
I think that's a good idea.
We need a better setup.
We have a pretty. It's
not bad.
It's not the worst. Okay, so here we go. Take a look here. So as you
got
can
the voice
see
of an
here,
angel.
Yep, he's a great singer. So you can get a sense, right? You see the headstock on that thing?
Is it a Jackson?
Okay, I have been trying to figure out. I was gonna say for days, but it's not true. I've been trying to figure out all morning what exactly this is.
Wait, is this an acoustic?
It's an acoustic guitar with that headstock on it. Anyway, so it's not particularly great.
Acoustic Jackson? Is that a Jackson? Patty Cakes would know. Patrick, where are you? You here? What's Stephen King's weird guitar he's playing?
Let's see if I have like another photo.
Marco would know. Marco used to show.
I feel like
I
have like a photo.
There's that train. Sorry, trains.
Anyway, so Stephen King plays, and he's got that crazy looking guitar.
Oh, Kramer Farrington, Loot the Body says.
Oh, I think it's a Kramer Farrington, says Loot the Body. I wouldn't be surprised. And I was looking recently at the sort of like the new Fenders that are all about those new Fenders that are like electric looking acoustics. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Sean Lennon plays one of those.
I was looking at it and I feel like I don't like the way they look at all. That's his. There you go. Neil Finn from Crowded House had one too. Loot the Body knows. Yeah. It's incredible.
Oh, it is a Kramer Farrington. Yeah, that's it. Here it is.
And it's like it's like a nice little acoustic looking guy.
You can get one on Reverb right now. 1980s black Kramer Farrington for $750.
I think we might have a little bit. You can kind of see it here too. Let me see if I can.
Wow, what an interesting choice.
It's such a bizarre looking guitar. It was really what got me going on this. You can kind of see. So here's Amy Tan. They're doing these boots are made for walking, and you can kind of get a sense of.
Does she have a leather whip?
Yeah, you know.
Patrick said it's called an ugly guitar. I think that's the correct answer.
That's true, and I think at some point we'll get another shot of Steven here, or maybe not.
I have a question. If these boots are made for walking, what are those pants made for?
Strutting. There you go. You can see it. There's the Farrington.
Is this maybe... I'm going to go out on a limb and say this might be the nerdiest thing that ever happened.
This band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The band, the show, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The crowd is just riddled.
And they played many other shows too. It was really fun. So that kind of got me going, and I was just like, it's ugly, but it's better than an ovation. Not a lot of good acoustic options that didn't feedback. He's definitely right. And the funniest thing is, just as you and I have been going back and forth and talking about how we keep getting these weird synchronicities and coincidences.
Yeah.
My brother and I talked on the phone last night for about an hour about acoustic guitars.
Oh, wow.
And plugging them in and how they always feedback or they always sound terrible.
Well, I got the 160. I would argue that's the best of the acoustic guitars. It can feedback, but you just got to get a little hockey puck.
You gotta get a little hockey puck.
Puck in there, little rubber thing that goes in the whole thing.
Great.
You know how it goes.
So I started
the drill.
Wait, what is Anita's most recent comment mean?
Sweet camel toe. Oh, I think it was in those pants. Maybe Amy had a bit of a camel toe, and that's a Strangers with Candy quote, if I'm not mistaken.
It's got the energy of those Microsoft product releases conventions when they start to get loose. That's true. The rock bottom remainders.
Yeah, I'm surprised Bill Gates wasn't there, like waving a towel like a hype man over in the corner. He may have been. Actually.
He probably was. He was probably playing a Les Paul. So it got me thinking about Stephen King, and Stephen King is absolutely obsessed with music. He's talks about it all the time. Because he killed John Lennon,
so I mean, clearly obsessed with.
Just in case anybody is tuning in and they think that we're actually stating that, we should probably clarify that we mean it 100%. We sincerely believe that he killed John Lennon. No, I'm just kidding. We don't believe that for real.
No.
Or did he?
Somebody does though.
But anyway, I went and was cruising around, and I found over on Far Out Magazine, they compiled a really cool list of a bunch of Stephen King's favorite songs, all the songs that he would talk about. And so we're just gonna cruise
in books or in interviews and stuff.
In interviews and stuff.
Okay.
I also found a list of all the songs he's referenced in books, and that's extensive. He is absolutely obsessed with music and talks about it all the time. But so here are a few Stephen King favorites. One, Stiff Upper Lip by AC/DC.
Lame.
He's a big fan of John Cougar Mellencamp's Pink Houses.
I saw there was a cool flyer, a funny flyer I saw the other day. It was like a wanted poster or like something you would see in a store, and it said, "Don't serve this guy chili dogs."
And it was
a picture of the Coug.
The Coug?
Yeah.
Decoy knows where we're going. Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. Pretty good one, actually.
Yeah,
Dirty Water
Stephen
by
Kingsman.
Dirty Water by the Standells, which I really love.
Mambo number 5.
Do you know
that song?
Do you know the song Dirty Water?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Great stuff. He loves the
Love
Knack.
that dirty water.
He's a big fan of the song My Sharona.
Okay.
We've also got some interesting ones here. He's a big fan of Richard Thompson's 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. Great song. He's a huge fan of the Cramps. Can your pussy do the dog?
Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
Question that's
yes.
always on our minds.
Question's always yes.
This spooky season. He's a huge fan of Springsteen in that he put 2 different Springsteen songs on, and I know how much you love Springsteen.
Yes,
so
I was gonna say Springsteen sucks, but I think that's a given at this point.
He's got Ramrod and Seeds by Springsteen. He's also got She Loves You by the Beatles, implicating him for sure. The Pretenders, Middle of the Road, great song. Rihanna, Pon de Replay, which is really funny to me because
this kind of sounds like this kind of starting to sound like your playlist.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, am I like Stephen King in this regard? Then he's also got
starting to think you killed John Lennon somehow, and you weren't even born.
He's got When the Stars Go Blue by Ryan Adams. Remember
that
guy?
When the stars go blue in the city. Different song.
It's a different song, but you know. So anyway, and then to Decoy's point, he was not kidding. Earlier this year, Stephen King revealed that in 1999, when Mambo Number 5 came out,
Lou Bega,
he got obsessed with it, and he wouldn't stop playing it. And he writes about how
an earworm.
He writes about how when he gets obsessed with a song, he can't stop listening to it over and over again. And so he started doing that with Mambo Number 5. Specifically, he was ripping a dance remix, which like went on for like 10 minutes.
Oh
So
my
he didn't
God.
have to change it as often.
Wow.
Or restart it.
I have a rock and roll conspiracy theory that Tired of Sex by Weezer is sort of a nod to Mambo Number 5.
Wait. Mambo Number 5. Well, okay, so not Mambo Number 5, Lou Bega's version came out in 1999.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, but
Okay,
the
well, then
original song...
that's debunked. Maybe it's the other way around.
Hey, but the song was written by Perez Prado in 1949, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really
I've never
old
heard
song.
the original version of
Should we pull it
Mambo
up?
Number 5.
I don't-
So
I
that
don't-
was just like a straight up cover?
I
Like a
believe-
remake?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see if we can get a little of Perez. Mambo
Perez Hilton?
Number. Yeah, it was by Perez Hilton. Everybody's favorite.
Love that guy.
Let's see.
Such a cool dude.
I'm seeing a lot of Lou. Let's see what we got here.
Lou Bega had... Oh. This is from when?
It says 1949, but this doesn't sound 1949-y.
That sounded pretty great for 1949 if that's the case.
This is maybe a little more...
Yeah, there we go. Wait, is this song in Office Space?
Oh, it is in Office Space.
Okay,
isn't
so
it?
maybe?
No, Loot the Body, he was talking about the Lou Bega version. He was way into it, and he was obsessed with it. To the point that he played it so much that his wife said, if you don't quit playing that song, and you can hear Decoy talking about, I'm going to fucking leave you.
You're going to end up in one of your books.
Yeah, you're going to end up buried.
You're going to end up in a wood chipper.
And so, anyway, I just thought there's nothing funnier to me than this man who is, although he's written stuff that's not horror, he's written lots of kinds of books. It's so funny to me to imagine the spookiest guy in the world just listening to a dance remix of Mambo Number 5 over and over and over again.
I wonder who did the remix.
It was still
DJ
like
Shadow or something?
No, it was still like a what do you call it? It was still our boy,
Okay.
Lou. But it was just
Whatever
like,
happened to
it just
Lou? We got to dig in on Lou someday.
He is still around, and he does seem to be. He seems okay. He seems like he's doing all right.
That's good.
And so I was just like digging around, and I was like, okay, so Stephen King has played in a band, the Rock Bottom Remainders. He's talked a lot about. That's what I say when Sam talks about the Beatles on Click Vortex. If you don't stop,
Sorry, I'll never stop.
he'll never quit. Just
I
like
signed
Steven,
a contract
with Abbey Road,
Yep.
with Zapple Industries.
Yep.
But anyway, so I was like, okay, but has Stephen King actually ever been like on a record, right? Because he's written a bunch of liner notes. He wrote, we'll get into it in a second. He wrote liner notes for one of my favorite bands, but I started digging around, and it does seem like he was actually featured on a record, but uncredited. However, when
He
I
was
say
a ghost feature?
uncredited, let's open this one up. Let's see if we can get it. This is a recording.
Imaginos, performed by Blue Oyster Cult. A bedtime story for the children of the dead.
Oh, this is him reading this.
This
the
is
intro?
him reading.
This is his Vincent Price.
From a dream world paralleling our Earth in time and space, the invisible ones have
Think about
sent
that. That
each
is-
who will dream the dream of history. With limitless power, he becomes the greatest actor of the 19th century.
I want a cigarette right now.
Disguises
Just listen to this guy's voice. That's all I want.
Doesn't it,
in
like-
history, continually altering its course and testing our ability to respond to the challenge of evil.
The Challenge of Evil.
He kind of sounds like this guy Doug that helps my uncle make amps.
Really?
Very similar voice.
Well, so
Doug, the guitar guy.
So that's from Blue Oyster Cult's Rarities. And get this. I am a big Blue Oyster Cult fan, and they are a band that's known for spookiness because they got Don't Fear the Reaper. They've got the song Astronomy. I really like it.
Yeah.
They've got Godzilla, which I guess is spooky to some degree
Sure.
or another.
Wait, what's Loot the Body talking about with Can You Take Me Back? The end of...
The Weezer. Oh, yeah. So Loot the Body is like clearly an absolute scholar of this stuff.
Yeah, he knows
Blue Oyster
everything.
Cult collaborated with author Michael Moorcock, who's like a big sci-fi guy. They collaborated with John Shirley, who's like a big cyberpunk guy. And they absolutely are fantasy dorks. They like love sci-fi and fantasy and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
And they were all rock critics, or not all rock critics, but
These are your people.
these are my people. And so Stephen King, he's not credited on the album. However, they did. So he's not credited on the album, and I started doing some investigation, and it seems that he was worried that they used Don't Fear the Reaper in a TV adaptation of The Stand, and so he liked Blue Oyster Cult. But for some reason, he was worried that it would like look bad if he did this intro and was credited. So he's not credited on the record, but they
Like
named,
it was like you do this for me, I'll do this for you kind of a thing.
I don't know.
I'll talk like it was.
Maybe he
like
was worried that's what people would think or something.
This is back when people actually cared about stuff.
But the best thing about it is he's not credited, but they named the track Stephen King Intro, which just to me,
So he is credited then.
He's basically credited.
He's 100. He's credited more. He's credited even more so than normal.
Right. So they're like, we got to come up with a name for this, and they're like, should we call it the Imaginos Intro? No, that isn't right. He's like, what about the Challenge of Evil? No, that's pretty good sounding, but no, let's go with Stephen King Intro. So
And is that on the back cover?
So it's on the Blue Oyster Cult's Rarities collection, and it's the opening track.
Okay.
So anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, okay, has he done anything else? And he hasn't. He hasn't done a lot of recording, but he had a huge working relationship and friendship with the Ramones, who also have come up very recently.
Yeah.
So the Ramones are, of course, known for many songs, one of them being Pet Sematary, which accompanied the movie based on one of Stephen King's many works. But I didn't realize that there's a little bit of a dispute, basically. Dee Dee and Marky, both in their respective books. Hey, Stephen King, I was thinking about maybe coming by your house and we could watch some of those horror movies. Marky, Dee Dee, both in their different books, write about going to see Stephen King and hanging out with him and getting dinner and then going back to his main home.
You think they got lasagna?
I'm sure they got lasagna. I mean, we only can assume that they got lasagna. But anyway, so they went to his place in Bangor, Maine, and during the visit, he handed Dee Dee a copy of the book. And according to Dee Dee, he then went down to the basement, a place that sometimes Ramones don't want to go, but he did want to go down to the basement. And he read the book, or he read enough of it. He came back up, and that he
started slow clapping.
He came back up and he was like, I wrote these lyrics for this song. I think we're ready to go.
I didn't read the book, but I did. But I did write this song. It goes a little something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4.
So Marky said that Dee Dee's attitude at that day showed he could achieve his plans to leave the band and attempt a career at hip hop. He basically was like, he likened Dee Dee to Stephen King, saying they both wrote things that people could relate to because they penetrated to the curiosity, fears, and insecurities carried around with them and couldn't put into words.
It's a bit of a stretch, but okay.
Yeah, so anyway, so they kind of do the thing or whatever. Apparently Pet Sematary, a little bit more considered like modern sounding and a little power ballady, apparently. Mm-hmm. Apparently Johnny Ramone had some difficulty playing the song. But let's just take a quick little. Just a little.
Spock thoughts.
I even had it ready to go. Little clip here. I love the way music videos look in this age.
Yeah.
I want to see what we've got going on with the smoke in the back there. Like, are they doing dry ice?
The slow motion black and white shots is very classic.
You got these guys. Debbie Harry's in the video. The Ramones are hanging out. Anyway. Didn't do that. Anyway, so that's them. They're doing their thing. And Stephen King... but here's where the dispute comes in. So Stephen King says that whole story didn't happen.
Fake. It sounds fake.
He's like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I did hang out with them and we did visit and I did want them to do the song and they clearly did. But yeah, he says that they're both wrong. And so who knows? But they apparently shot that video at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery.
I just went there.
In New York Village. It was shot on a cold night in January 1989, and Debbie Harry and Chris Stein, as well as members of the Dead Boys, are in it. It was the last video featuring our boy Dee Dee before he departed the band to focus on his burgeoning career as a hip-hop rapper, the original punk
how'd that go?
rapper. It did not go well, but if you talk to our boy DJ Johnny Volume, Tim here,
yep,
he'll say it went better than some people suggest it did.
Okay.
So, anyway, pretty good stuff there. And the reason that this whole click even came into my head was because when they did the We're a Happy Family Ramones tribute that featured all of our favorite bands, including, the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
right.
MIDI sample here, and
Yep.
and Rob Zombie and a bunch of others. Stephen King writes the liner notes, and I think he really did understand the power of the Ramones. And like his book, the Ramones are pretty straightforward and pretty they're not trying to put on pretenses or be ultimately all that arty, but they rule. Gross. I'm not sure which part's gross.
There's a bit of a delay here, maybe. Miranda says gross. Miranda, what are you
because we said the
referring
Red
to?
Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, right. Oh, duh. Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're
Sorry, I'm tired.
They all. I
Slept on a
almost
couch.
look. We're gonna bring this one to a close in just a second. But I do want to
Already?
note that I did start. Yeah, an hour and a half in. Already, we're done. I did look at rock and roll ghost stories, and of course, I found one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers recording in a mansion.
Yeah.
And John Frusciante saying
Really slumming it.
there were a lot of ghosts. It was this old Hollywood
Well, there are a lot
hangout.
of ghosts of their guitarist, maybe.
And they were hanging out with Rick Rubin, and he was probably like, I'm going to go sit on this couch.
Yeah,
You
Rick
guys
Rubin's probably
work
like,
on these tunes.
I'm going to go curling iron this weird little thing on the side of my head, my hair.
And-
make sure it always sticks out in like a weird sprout.
I think that's a more modern, this is probably the 90s or whatever.
Oh,
but
okay.
And Frusciante says, this is before he originally departed the band, but Frusciante said the ghosts were friendly, and then he said, in fact, I even pleasured myself in front of the ghosts.
Oh.
He said it in a more crass form.
Can you get more crass than that?
But somehow that's worse than saying
Yeah,
jerked
that actually-
off or beat off
yeah.
or whatever. Like me
you should
saying
have gone with the more traditional.
That's true. That's one of those things that when you say that, when you attempt to be
That's
clean about it, then it ends up sounding worse.
I mentioned I listened to that David Spade, Dana Carvey podcast, and they always talk about the censor person. I forget what that department's called.
Oh, the standards and practices. Yeah.
Person, and they'd be like, and he would always talk about the stuff he'd want to say in church lady. Like they wouldn't let him say penis, but he could say like the most disgusting ways to dance around saying whatever you want to say. They're like, yeah, that's cool. That works.
That's so funny. And makes me think of the 30 Rock episode where Kenneth has to do a live censoring of Tracy Morgan, like in the moment. Like he's going live right now, and he's like, I can do this. And he's like carefully like pressing the button. Anyway.
That's funny. Decoy says they weren't chasing ghosts, they were chasing dragons. And that's true.
I mean, that's one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers defining things.
They love those dragons.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Click Vortex once again. Next episode, we'll have John Frusciante here with us to talk about those ghosts.
And just a heads up, because we actually scheduled this one in advance.
That's right.
We'll be doing this one next Friday. It'll be a little early.
Oh, yeah. So
if
hang
you-
out.
if you guys wanna
Come hang out next Friday
pop
with
in.
us. It'll be great. It'll be
Friday.
And then you're going on a little trip. You'll come back with, I'm sure,
the 27th.
some adventures.
27th, probably when we should have done our Halloween episode.
Well, that's true.
We'll do another one.
In the meantime, give us a ring, 1-877-WASTOIDS. We got some cool stuff coming up, and we will talk to you soon. And anything else? Do I need to press any other?
Do we have any other buttons?
I mean-
Let's take it. Let's go to.
Got video mix up.
Let's go to the control room for a second.
Oh yeah,
Now let's go there. Oh look, here's it. Yeah,
that's the other room. We're in. There's nobody in there right now.
no one's
but,
in there.
But you can tell that.
Really slacking off.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What
Anyway,
else we got?
hello.
And goodbye.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Smell you later.